You already know, man. It's Deion Dawkins, and you listening to the Real Deal Sports Show on the Beat 105.5.
All right, good morning, everybody. The Rad Man back with you, coming through the speakers loud and clear on Saturday morning. Hey, it was summer, it was spring a little while ago, then it was winter, then it was spring, and now we're back to winter. So, hey, all y'all going out there for those parades and all that today, hey, man, bundle up. Don't be out there don't get caught out there with no clothes on or shorts enough, because it's cold out there. As Miss Stacy, Mama Stacy used to say over there on Strauss Street in Buffalo, New York, boy, close that door. It's cold out behind those doors. Close that door and make sure you put that rug underneath the door. All right, son? Come on now. Close that door. So, hey, it's cold out there today, but it's warm inside here. And we got a lot to talk about on Real Deal Sports Show, coming to you live from the Rock Palm Broker Studios, as we do each and every Saturday morning. We're talking to you live, sports of all sorts. And we got a hell of a lot to talk about. Got a lot of guests and things on the show today. And, of course, like we always do, we're going to open it up today with what we call the Rad Man Rant. I told you his ass should have been ran after the 13-second game. Everybody knew it. You should have fired his ass. The guy should have been gone. You get a lead with 13 seconds left. How do you lose the game? How do you lose the game? Well, hey, the Bills right now with their preseason picks and things of that nature, and what we're going through here with the not after the combine and the Bills finally getting into free agency. I like a lot of the moves they're making. Bradley Chubb, hey, you got to bring somebody in. And when I looked at his stats and statistics, they were way better than A.J. Espinosa, as well as Greg Rousseau. A lot of the guys who the Bills had last year out there playing, Bradley Chubb still put up better numbers than those guys last season. So I like Bradley Chubb. You got to bring in new people. I don't want to see no more Jordan Phillips. I'm so sick of Jordan Phillips and that whole crew. Man, please, I'm glad to see fresh faces coming in here. You can win with some people. You can lose with some people. Hey, you lost with these people years and years in a row. DeQuan Jones, all these guys were good football players, but they too old. They injured. They broke up. They move them on, let them go to somewhere else. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, man, I like that move. They had a chance to get him when the Houston Texans cut him back in September. And that's why I want to ask Brandon Beane when they get here during the summer, why didn't you go after that guy back in September? The Bills seem to be good for making moves after the season and not making those critical adjustments in season during the season. Because I would have picked this young man up last year. He's a violent player. He's a hitter. And I think him and Cole Bishop as the strong safety and the free safety, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, that would be a nice pairing in the secondary. D. Alford, they brought him in from Atlanta. He's a little bit on the small side, but he plays tall. That guy gets a lot of interceptions. He had a nice interception against Josh Allen when we were in Atlanta for the Bills-Atlanta game last season. So D. Alford, I like that cornerback move. I like most of the moves he made, bringing in this new talent, bringing in fresh faces, get this team changed around. One of the problems I didn't like was the McGovern signing. The center, Connor McGovern, I like him a lot. I think he's an excellent center for the Buffalo Bills. But the only problem is you drafted Van Pran Granger 2 years ago, and Van Pran Granger was the starting center for the Georgia Bulldogs when they won the national championship. He played in a lot of big games. He was on the national championship team. Why is he sitting on the bench with a rookie contract? Why wouldn't you? Hey, I like McGovern, but you can't keep everybody. I would have told Josh Allen, Josh, I like McGovern, but all you got to do is work on not turning the ball over in the playoffs. That's what I want to hear from your ass. Don't turn the ball over in the playoffs. Don't be telling me who we should keep on the team. Come on, man. I like Connor, but he got to go play somewhere else, because we got a guy, a 2-year guy, Van Pran Granger, that's on a rookie contract. So that's the name of this game. You got to put your rookies in there and start them. And then also Dawson Knox. You done heard this 1,000 times. I'm beating a dead horse on this one. Why in the hell would you sign Dawson Knox? I don't care if he's good friends with Josh Allen. You don't let your quarterback make your calls on your and I think that's what Brandon Beane is showing, that he's caving in to Josh Allen. And I don't like that move right there at all. Dawson Knox should have been cut. You got Dalton Kincaid. He's going to ask for big money coming up next soon, another year from now. So you got Dalton Knox, you got Haas. You could have just brought in another tight end, an undrafted free agent, or even draft a tight end. Those tight ends seem to be working out quite well, the guys that you do draft in the later rounds. And the Bills seem to be good at, from round 4 to round 7, finding guys that can start on the team. So I would definitely like to see. I thought Dawson Knox should have went. Connor McGovern should have went, because Van Pran Granger should have stepped in as the starter. And that's what it's all about. When you see the good teams, Howie Rosen with the Eagles, he ain't in no love. He ain't talking to his quarterbacks and people about man, that man makes moves there in Philadelphia. You got to have the balls to make the move. Say, hey, man, I like you, but you got to play for somebody else because your salary is way too high. We can get lesser production, but we can save money on the cap, and we can hopefully get more production from another position on the team. And that's how you got to do it nowadays in the National Football League. You got to make sure you're doing that type of thing. As Morris on the Beltway, Morris Thompson on the Beltway doing this thing, checking in with us. I know it's probably a little warmer maybe down there on the Beltway this morning, but we're getting it in this morning, everybody. And let's see what we got going. And let's bring in Bilal. Good morning, Bilal. How you doing this morning?
Morning, Rad, man. I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing all right. And Bilal, why I got you here, we got to bring in the one and only J-GILLZ, man, because J-GILLZ got to follow up the Radman rant. Hey, weren't they tanking for Tua a few years ago, and now they're gonna let him go and still have like a $99 million. I wish it was $99. $99 million check that he left for them to pay a cap hit. J-GILLZ, what's going on with your Dolphins down there?
Show me the money.
I know. Good morning, Real Deal family. I know everybody is asking what's going on in Miami. Are the Dolphins fans upset? But the thing is, we've known this was going to happen for months now. As soon as they finished that season, we knew that Tua's time was done. As soon as he wasn't the starter, as soon as he got benched for Quinn Ewers, we knew his time was done in Miami. I'm more so interested in actually what the new regime did and who they signed. And to get a guy like Malik Willis, who I think is going to have some decent success for the Miami Dolphins. You got somebody in John Eric Sullivan, the GM, who saw him there for 2 years. He was a part of getting him to Green Bay, and he saw what he can do. We saw a guy like Jeff Hafley in his 2 years going up against a guy like Malik Willis. And then when you bring in John Singleton, the former general manager for the Tennessee Titans, who actually drafted Malik Willis, nobody knows Malik Willis like the Miami Dolphins regime knows Malik Willis. And they've invested this money, this $22 million, very quarterback-friendly deal. Next year, they got $150 million to spend in free agency. So I'm actually excited to see what's to come of this. And I think Tua landed in a pretty decent spot. If I'm going to be honest, he's playing in a division that is very mediocre. So he'll always have a chance to make the playoffs. You're playing against guys like Baker Mayfield and Bryce Young. It's a very, very good situation for Tua. You're playing in a dome. You've got weapons. You got your tight end, who he loves to throw to, and Kyle Pitts. You've got huge receivers like Drake London, and of course you got that machine, Bijan Robinson. You just, he's going to be the whole offense. So can Tua play the point guard position and just make it happen? And I think Kevin Stefanski, that's another guy who I think is going to be very coachable for Tua. So I think it's a win-win situation. When I look at Tua, when I look at the Dolphins, I think they had to split, and I think they both, actually will be on the better side of things moving forward.
J-GILLZ, you sound like you miss Tua.
I don't miss Tua.
He's in a very good situation. He's got good tight end, good running back, and good receivers. Oh, he's in a very winnable division. If he was all that, he would still be in a Dolphins uniform. Is what it boils down to. And hey, you can like Willis all you want. You can like Malik Willis all you want. It sounds real Miami Dolphins fandom right now, like you, because what we couldn't see is J-GILLZ sitting over there like this, and probably got a million praying emojis somewhere You know, the Dolphins did what they had to do, similar to a few years ago when Russell Wilson was sent over to the Steelers by Sean Payton and the Broncos, where they were taking on most of the salary that he was paid that season, because my grandmother used to have this saying. She would say, "You look better gone," and you know what I mean. And so for the Miami Dolphins, Tua looks better, even though they've got to pay him in another team's uniform, and I think what the Dolphins are hoping for is, no matter how much their regime knows, Malik Willis. I mean, if he was what you trying to make us believe he is, he would have been playing somewhere by now.
Hey, listen. I ain't trying to make him believe nothing. All I'm saying is he was the number one quarterback in this free agency class.
You said it like that's a hard thing to be.
I'm just saying what it was.
Okay,
what it was. He was sought after.
He was the hold on.
And he got to choose which team he wanted to go to. There were teams that wanted him, like the Arizona Cardinals, like the Minnesota Vikings. There were teams that wanted him. He chose where he wanted to go. We're not going to call this guy just. We don't know what he is yet. He only had a couple starts.
He was the number one free agency quarterback before the Cardinals released Kyler Murray. Let's be clear. Like, the number one quarterback in free agency was Kyler Murray.
To some, man. To some, but this is work ethic. We got to see how that works out. Too.
Yeah, it sounds very Miami Dolphins fanish, and I respect it. I respect it.
Whoa, you going in this morning, Dave. Very good, very good. We're going to switch it up for a minute. We're going to get back to that in a little bit. This next segment is brought to you by Challenger Community News, Western New York's largest weekly African-American newspaper. Buff Chow News, BuffChallNews.com. Remember, pick it up at most businesses in the community. A lot of great articles in this week's Challenger. Got a lot of things going on. Talk about Lachey Harris, Rochester Council President. Got a nice article on her and the things that they're doing here in the city of Rochester, as well as a lot of things going on across Western New York. The Delta's got a thing going on with the girls. The girls got a big thing coming up. Juneteenth countdown. News you can use. The Challenger Community Newspaper. J-GILLZ, could you please introduce our first guest of the day?
Oh man, of course, man. As you know, we got a Rochester. We'll call him a Rochester legend. We got the first state championship in RCSD school history. We have our head football coach for the Monroe Red Jackets, Coach Terrell Cunningham Sr., who also coaches on the basketball team. Won a state championship. I think what he's doing over there is he's collecting some bricks. I think he's trying to build something. He got a couple bricks that he's collecting, whether it's football or basketball. Coach Cunningham, welcome to the Real Deal Sports Show.
Hey, good morning, fellas. Good to be here.
Morning, Coach.
Good morning, Coach. And congratulations. You won the sectionals for the football and then the states for football as well. Not only the sectional, but now the sectionals for basketball as well. Congratulations on a great achievement.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Coach, what really went into the mindset of this season? Did you think, now that we're in March, we all know how a school year goes. You guys starting it back in August, June, July, August, and now we're here in March. Did you see this level of success just for Monroe athletics this year?
I did. I've been fortunate and blessed to be around this great group of young men for a long time. I look at all these guys and I got stories for days from when, these guys was 9, 10 years old and, taking these guys out of town, traveling with them for tournaments and, coaching these guys for youth football. Most of these guys, they've only ever played for me in football. And then, for basketball, I was in a position where my first years coaching at Monroe was with this group. Now that's on varsity, but I got them on modified. But I've been fortunate. I've been blessed to be around a great group of young people that bought into the system, and we were able to do some great things this year.
Coach, man, first of all, again, congratulations to echo what J-GILLZ said on not only the state championship in football, but also now the sectional title in basketball. But I don't know if anyone has heard the most recent news that your son, Terrell Cunningham Jr., was named the number 1 ranked quarterback in New York State. So congratulations on you know what I mean? Again, it just, it speaks to not only the coach, but the father. So congratulations on, not just being, successful on the field, but off the field as well. My question is, there historically throughout the RCSD, there have been great teams, and schools will be able to draw players, throughout generations and have some good teams. But what you all have built is a program. Speak to the difference, because and how important it is to be kind of program minded as opposed to, yeah, we might have some good teams here or there and get some, guys to come here every so often and be able to have a good season. But the level of success that you all have been able to put together consistently in a very short period of time, from coming back to be in a high school with a varsity football program. Speak to that for us, please.
So I think it's taking the long game approach. For me, whatever I do, you try to look at things with the end in mind. Obviously, coming from that teaching background, you kind of want to build your lessons out with the understanding of what you're trying to finish the year doing, or finish the year with the youth having the understanding of. So with me, with that background, I'm trying to remember, my son was maybe 7 or 8 years old when he was playing youth football, and I didn't start coaching my son until I'm not going to say that. I didn't actually coach my son's team until he was about 9 years old. But for me, it was a point where I saw the potential of a lot of young men, and what happened was, when you have people around you that see the game the same way you do, like my assistant coaches, my guy Shaq and Kobe, my guy G-Hop, and it was kind of like a great partnership that ended up evolving, because everybody knows, your kid gets to a certain age where you could tell them whatever, and it's almost like they don't quite hear you. Sometimes they need to hear from somebody else. So what ends up happening is, you come across people that got same mentality, same mindset as you, and sometimes they can deliver that same message you're trying to deliver. So essentially, what ended up happening is, I was posted in the position after COVID to become the head coach at Monroe by my coach, Coach Muhammad, and he was transitioned to the principal. So there was a few things that I asked of him upon me taking that position. And, one of them was me being able to bring on my staff, guys that I know who had passion and saw the game the same way I did. And people that weren't afraid to challenge me. Like, a lot of times, people, they create where they're comfortable with, kind of like they're the biggest voice in the room and nobody challenges them. For me, I don't think that's a big way. I want guys that I make that pose those questions, and then we can kind of go back and forth and come up with something great. So I believe I was surrounded by guys like that. My coach Blue was my first hire. Bruce Blue, I know you guys know that brother, but he's the guy I grew up watching at Edison back in the day, and he was just a dog. So he was my first hire. And then, I was able to bring on G-Hop, my coach Jamel, young men, my guy Willis, Fred Carter, just a bunch of young men from the area, most of them that were city school guys, and we basically developed our staff from there. I had some guys, my guy Coach Morrison and Coach Omar, who had been in the program already. so they pretty much stayed on. But overall, we built with the end in mind. So we got a group of young men that at the time were like middle school, 7th, 8th grade. They all came over at middle school, but the goal was ultimately for them to be what they did by 7th grade. So we played a long game. We had some great years early out. 23, we had a pretty good run. We won a sectional title. 24, we moved up to Class A, and we, made it to the Class A semis. And then obviously last year, was the year when, I always say my puppies came off the porch. So it was just great to see. But now they're all going to be seniors. So I'm expecting them to keep continuing to handle business.
Excellent. Go ahead, J-GILLZ or Blau.
Yeah, again, I just haven't been able to watch, man. It's been a fun watch. Again, like you said, with that end in mind. Speak a little bit more for us and our followers and viewers about the kind of that relationship that you have with Coach Muhammad, now Principal Muhammad, kind of, and how, what have you gleaned from having played for him as a player, and then kind of, glean from him as now that you're a coach as well?
A lot of, some people know, most people don't. Coach Muhammad is, for me, that's my father figure. I met him when I was 13 years old, and, he took me under his wing, and it's been nothing but, just speaking, just power into me, just pouring into me as a man, as an athlete, as a person. And, to this day, we talk all the time. It's people like that who were able to put me in position that gave me the opportunity, that spoke this into existence 20-something years ago. When I was a high school senior back in 2007 at Marshall, we had a very good run. We made it to the state semis. We won a sectional title. We ended up losing to Auburn in 06. But, Muhammad he would tell anybody, Terrell's going to come back, and, I'm going to end up working for him. He's going to be the head coach, and I'm working for him. So he was speaking that into existence 20 years ago. And, for me, it's just been that constant. Many of us grow up, some of us, I'll say, grow up without the father in the house. So he was that for me. My father and I relationship, we never were really on like that. My father passed in 2018, but, Muhammad picked up in all those areas and guided me through many difficult decisions throughout life. Even the point of pushing me to go to college. I had my daughter in high school, so in those moments, it was like, well, I need to work. I need to go and get a job. And he basically told me that's not what I'm going to do. And he basically drew up a life map for me, told me what I was going to do. I was going to go to school. I was going to get a job after college that is going to be fruitful, and my daughter's not going to remember those early years of struggling. And he was spot on. He was absolutely spot on. My daughter's down at Spelman right now. She's a sophomore there. And, she can't tell you anything about those first few years of her being 2 or 3 years old, me being an undergrad in Utica while she's at daycare at RIT with her mom. So he definitely was spot on with all that. But, to this day, he's still that father figure to me. And that's just pretty much how our relationship has always been.
Wow, Coach, that's a strong message right there for sure. I remember covering that team in 06 and 07, that strong Marshall team. And you were one of the key players on that team on the offensive line, definitely for that team. And also, like you said, having a father figure, and seems that's what you have already now brought to this school, to Monroe, and to the students, several father figures for your young team, and continued success. And we're going to definitely have you back on the show again real soon. You guys have a game coming up this week. You guys are still continuing in the sectionals?
Nah, we sectionals over for basketball. We won it. We won the title, and then we ended up in Buffalo for a very good grand. So for me, I'm finally off. I tell you, it's my first weekend in about 9 months where I wasn't game playing or preparing for a camp. So, nah,
I don't know, Coach. I thought they was gonna get you for the girls' flag football, man. Make some more history. You feel me?
I'm actually going to be out for a little bit. I've been telling all my players. I sent a long text message to my rising seniors. After the basketball game, I told all my guys I got to get a procedure done, so I'm gonna be down for about 14 weeks. And but like I told them, the expectations don't change. I got great supporting cast around me, of coaches and stuff. We're gonna make sure we don't miss a beat. Getting guys and weight room and still doing our training, still making sure that everybody's getting where they need to be, coordinating all that stuff. So it's just a testament of having strong support system. Mr. McGill's in the building. He's the guy I definitely want to shout out. Whenever we have anything we got going on, at Monroe, we practice late. And I'm thankful that during the year, Mr. McGill was able to find our guys. We was able to get fed after every practice. So I'm definitely appreciative for for that, and for everybody that supported us and was able to provide us with some kind words or just encouragement.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Coach, for your time. Oh,
Thank
go ahead,
you.
Jake. Thank you so much for your time. A well-deserved vacation, and we look forward to having you back on once you come back from vacation. We're definitely going to have you back on during the spring, probably during the summer season, Coach.
Gotcha, sir.
Man, speedy recovery to you, and much continued success.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. That was Coach Cunningham. J-GILLZ, thank you so much. Excellent job you're doing over there at Monroe as well, J-GILLZ.
Thanks to the community.
That's right. That's right. And our next segment brought to you by the award-winning Miriam Rivera Insurance Agency, Auto, Home, Health, and Life Insurance, 1038 Lyle Avenue, 511 Bean Road, Suite B. Give her a call, 585-360-0094. J-GILLZ, you know about Kimmy Does It Best?
Kimmy Does It Best, custom web design and ongoing maintenance. Kimmy can help. Support your business online and grow. Visit KimmyDoesItBest.com or contact support@KimmyDoesItBest.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As we definitely continue to move on for sure. Our next guest coming up, we have a big NCAA basketball tournament. It was great games last night. Jaden Bradley, man, won that game last night with the clutch shot. And I didn't realize, Bilal, he's player of the year for the Big 12. I didn't realize he was named player of the year. Rochester's own Jaden Bradley, and that clutch shot that he hit as time ran out last night for Arizona to move on over Arizona State last night. Great victory there. And so March Madness has already begun, and it'll be coming to Buffalo, New York, KeyBank Center next week. And our next guest is with us now, Matt Rittenauer. He's the Associate Athletic Director for Communications at Canisius Athletics. Welcome to Real Deal Sports Show, Matt. And you heading up the tournament in Buffalo on March 19th and March 21st. Welcome to Real Deal Sports Show.
Hey, thanks for having me, fellas. Happy to talk about it. And I know it's not necessarily in Rochester, but it's close enough. So,
absolutely. That's what they tell us when they used to have the blackout rule for the Bills back in the day. We were close enough to get blacked out back in the day. So now we're getting blacked in. Matt, what does it take to put on an event like this, especially when you don't even know the teams who's coming to your city until probably tomorrow night, Sunday night?
Yeah, we won't know until tomorrow night, right? So a lot of the people find out that we don't know who's coming. I can't tell you how many people. I was just at an event last night for my son's baseball team, and one of the dads was like, well, who's coming? And I said, we don't know. And he's like, get out of here. And I said, no. I said, we find out as the hosts the same times the teams do. They don't know if they're in or out or where they're going. Right. We all find out at 6:00 tomorrow night watching the selection show. So it's a massive undertaking. There's probably close to 200 volunteers behind the scenes that are running this. This is a 9-month process to get to this point, and then starting tomorrow night at 6:00, it's a 6-day absolute sprint, for a marathon distance to put it on. But it's a lot of work. The NCAA makes it super easy from our standpoint, from the administrators of the tournament to host the tournament, because they literally have thought or have dealt with everything, and they kind of lay it out there for you, and you just follow along. And you guys know, because you've covered NCAA tournaments before, there's some of the weird rules. You can't have you can't take a Coca-Cola in the can. You got to pour it in the NCAA cup before you sit at the table. And, you have to have specific water, and you're not allowed to do this. And, one of the things we had offered was to put, the Visit Buffalo people here, the Visitor Convention Bureau, they wanted to put something together to tell the media where to go for wings. And the NCAA politely declined because Buffalo Wild Wings is their corporate partner. So there's a lot of nuances you need to work through as you do this, but the NCAA puts together, and this is their show, right? Like we're just kind of the beekeepers for this. They put it all together, and but it is a tremendous amount of work. Literally, it started in June. It ramps up around Thanksgiving, obviously, when hoop season gets started. And this week alone, I just looked last night just so that I had context to tell you guys. This week alone, I've received 447 emails about the NCAA tournament. And that's, this is kind of a side job, right? I'm also the associate AD for communications at Canisius. So that has, baseball, softball, men's and women's lacrosse season, those don't stop. So it's a juggling act. And then, like I said, I'm also a dad. So I got 3 kids. So my wife's real good about knowing that I love working the tournament. So she kind of helps out and make sure everything's taken care of for a week. I kind of go on hiatus in my own town. So, but it's a lot of work, and it's pretty seamless. But it is certainly a tremendous amount of work.
Wow, J-GILLZ.
Yeah. So now, let me enlighten me. Does this? How does a city get the chance and opportunity to be a host city for the tournament? Is that something that you pitched for, that you put in for, or how did that go?
Yeah, it's a huge bidding process, right? So this will be the 8th time Buffalo has hosted the NCAA men's basketball tournament since 2000. And if you look at the host cities, it actually puts puts Buffalo, right? The city of Buffalo itself in kind of that upper echelon of since 2000 when they went to this bidding process. It's put us more in the echelon of being a repeat customer, really. There's a huge bidding process. A lot of it has to do with the arena. The arena folks at KeyBank Center are awesome. They go out of their way to make everything work right. The arena was built with being a multifunctional facility, which a lot of towns didn't do back in the late 1990s, right? So even though there are no Buffalo Braves, they built the arena here. This was before I lived in Buffalo, but the folks that designed the arena thought, okay, let's build this the way they build Madison Square Garden and the building in Philadelphia, Chicago. Give us some options. So there's a lot of locker room space, which is huge because, some buildings, they just have hockey. They just build big hockey locker rooms. So the Sabres have a beautiful locker room, but they also have other ancillary rooms they're able to break off and kind of make. So that's a big part of it. The other part of it is, honestly, they'll keep coming back because we sell all the tickets. The demand for tickets, Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, down into Erie, Pennsylvania, we sell a tremendous amount of tickets over the border. Fans, college basketball fans in Ontario, and basketball fans in general from Ontario. That draws, obviously. And so when you're able to sell those tickets in advance and the NCAA doesn't have to worry about the seats being empty on their television broadcast, that's a huge upside. But it's a large bidding process. And they, you roll out the red carpet, much like I don't want to say it's on the level of the Olympics, right? But it is a big deal. And even so much as having the hotels commit to being a hotel to host a team or a media, the media or whatever. They host, they made that commitment, 7 years ago for this, right? So they kind of put their neck out there too. So there's a lot that goes into this to be able to host this. Being a repeat customer or, kind of in the clique already, haven't already done this, helps us because they know we do a great job here and the city rolls out the red carpet. But it is very competitive. It has become very competitive probably the last 10 years, right? So the fact this is the 3rd time since 2017 that we'll host is a testament to the area. But it becomes ultra competitive, and there are more and more cities across the country looking to host, what it really boils down to is airport. Can you get airport? Do you have an airport that can bring in multiple charter airplanes? Because every team that flies here will be on a charter airplane. So that's one check mark.
Wow.
And then the hotel situation is a big deal. And I think moving forward, I know there's been some stuff here in the news locally in Buffalo about the need for another hotel property. There was the Adams Mark downtown that I'm sure you guys are familiar with.
Yes.
That was bought. There was a project going on there. That project hasn't come to fruition. So that property is sitting empty right now. There's a ton of stuff in the news. The city wants to take it over. But if you're asking me, that needs to be a hotel because that helps us get the NCAA tournament back. That would certainly help the bid for the Bills to bring the NFL draft to Buffalo.
Would be great. Yeah.
There's a lot of parts to go to this, right? It's not just I jokingly say this because I mean no offense. It's not just teacher conventions and salesman conventions, right? Like we want these major events. You have to have hotels, and that's the one thing Buffalo has always been fortunate with. There's a number of hotels downtown close to the arena that we're able to use. And then I'll also say the city of Buffalo, everybody involved in that aspect has always been awesome too, right? The Buffalo police. They've always provided police escorts for the teams. The last couple of times the social media has become bigger, you always see guys posting on their stories and stuff with the police escort driving down and all the cars moving out of the way and things like that. So, but it's a lot. It's a big bidding process, and I don't know when the next bid cycle is up, but I would imagine we'll be, first in line to submit our stuff to bring this back in 4 or 5 years, whatever the cycle is for the NCAA.
But what's the economic impact for Western New York?
It's huge, actually. It's Mr. Patrick Kaler from the Visit Buffalo Commission. He talks about it being in the hundreds of millions for this week and this weekend, right? So the teams come into town. Obviously, their fans come into town. General basketball fans come to town, and then the restaurants, the hotels. Tim Hortons, all the coffee shops. I mean, everybody is busy this weekend. And one of the unique pieces to our, site where we're at, like locationally, right, is there is a lot to do in downtown Buffalo, on the off days. There's a number of sports bars and things like that. And people who come to town that don't have an affiliation with the teams, but they, there's a lot of people out there. I learned about this a few years ago. There's a lot of people that they'll travel to different cities just to go watch first and second round in person. And they'll pick a town, right? So, hey, we haven't been to Buffalo. So 4, 5, 6 buddies they go to Buffalo. Well, Friday comes, they want to watch games. So now they're looking for spots to go. So they're out all day enjoying that. So it's upwards of, 80, 90, $100 million that come into the city. Wow. But the other thing is, too, I also understand that, all the hotels in Buffalo are sold out. So Niagara Falls becomes a viable resource. We've had people talk about, staying at the hotels out on the thruway towards Batavia. So, it spreads out. They kind of come in, the NCAA tournament comes in and kind of puts a bowl over the region. And, it becomes a massive undertaking, right? It's
a Super Bowl. It's Buffalo. It's Western New York Super Bowl. This is what you described as what me, Bilal, and J-GILLZ experienced in San Francisco during Super Bowl week, right, guys?
Absolutely. Which it almost makes you, as much as I'm impressed with the new stadium that they're building for the Bills, a dome would have made us a viable option to put in a bid for the Super Bowl after hearing this. It just kind of because when you see the economic impact to a region, it makes you really say, like, this is a great boost to that local economy.
Yeah, it's a huge, and like I said before, the hotel thing is a big piece, right? And just knowing that if they can get those hotels back up online, it just helps build the opportunity to be able to bring more of these events, right? Whether it's the World Juniors in hockey or the Frozen Four, which we hosted a couple of times before. The hotel impact is obviously the big thing. The dome is probably the biggest piece because I'm not sure the NFL's signing up to play outside on the East Coast anymore after
Location. They should have built it downtown next to the Key Bank Center. Imagine that.
Yeah, that would have been awesome to have a stadium complex kind of set up. I'm a Philadelphia native, so I'm very familiar with that. The traffic is brutal, but other than the actual atmosphere itself is unparalleled. So,
in closing, Matt, is tickets available? Can people order tickets, or how can people get tickets for the tournament?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a number of ways to get tickets. The easiest way to get tickets, ncaa.com/tickets. Go on there. NCAA has worked with Ticketmaster, and they have it's the official resale spot on there. So tickets are totally available. And what the NCAA has done after time and time again, they've finally done. So they've broken it down into 3 sessions. So if you can't go on Saturday, but you want to go to Thursday night's games, you can buy Thursday night's games. If you want to go Saturday during the day, and you can't go, the other 2 sessions, you can buy just 1 session. You can buy multiple sessions. I will say this, with all of this going on, and I told a buddy of this last night, if you're looking to get tickets, get them before tomorrow at 6:00, because once the teams are announced, and if you believe the bracketology, there's a lot of talk that Michigan and Michigan State might come here. So the entire state of Michigan comes here to gobble up all the tickets. It'll be a great experience, but we'll kind of, people might be kicking themselves. So yeah, ncaa.com/tickets. That's the way to get your tickets for, whether you want to see all 3, 2, or 1 session, but it's an awesome atmosphere. And I can't recommend it enough, even if you're a casual sports fan, to be in that building with the energy of the NCAA tournament. There's nothing like it.
Thank you so much, Matt Rittenauer. Man, we definitely got to have you back to talk more sports of all sorts here on Real Deal Sports Show. Good luck next week. Seems like you guys got this thing all well mapped out, and we'll see you there, because we'll be there as well covering the first rounds of the tournament there, March 19th and March 21st in Buffalo, New York. Thank you so much, Matt.
Thanks, fellas. Appreciate it. See you next week.
Matt. Great talking.
You too.
All right, gentlemen. Boy, we got a lot going on. That's amazing that with this big tournament, you would think they would want to have a dome stadium or something for it and do a Super Bowl, because this is what we've been saying all along. You can use Rochester, Syracuse, the whole 9 yards for tournament opportunities. No doubt about it. And guess what? We got more action in Buffalo. If you can believe it or not, hey, with the legendary boxing amateur director, Don Patterson. Welcome back to Real Deal Sports Show to talk about your big Golden Gloves event coming up tomorrow over there in Buffalo, New York. Welcome back, Don Patterson, the Real Deal Sports Show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Wow. And what you have coming up tomorrow?
We have the Golden Gloves semifinals, New York State. We'll have some of the best fighters from across the state here tomorrow competing in the semifinals, trying to advance to the Golden Glove finals on March 15th. And the open class will trying to earn their way to the national tournament. So we got a big day tomorrow. We have competitors from across the state, quite a few from Rochester, but from across the state. And we're looking forward to a great competition again.
Wow, a good competition coming. And where is it going to be held at?
Riverworks, Buffalo Riverworks, downtown. A great facility, not a bad seat in the house. If I can, before we go any further, I just want to send our prayers out to a legendary boxing guy, Don Simpkin from Rochester. He's done so much for that community over the years. For over 50 years, he's been training youth and mentoring youth and taking them all over the country with the boxing, and really been a staple in the community, a positive impact. And he was a great mentor to all of us in Western New York and across the state and the country. He was the president of the Silver Gloves. For all the young guys come through the Silver Gloves, and those guys are the guys that are competing now. He was our LBC president for many years, and we want to send our prayers out to him. He is currently having some major medical challenges. We want him to know that we love him and we appreciate, and his work was not in vain, and that we'll carry it on and try to continue the positive programs that he's been such a part of. What he's done over the years, he for years have every day picks up those kids at their homes and drops them off after training, drives them across the country to the Silver Glove tournament. And he's just been a major impact. And we just want to send our prayers out to him, thank him for all he's done, and let him know that we love him.
Yes, indeed. And you mentioned to me earlier that he was responsible for a lot of these boxers here in Rochester. His name is synonymous here in Rochester, New York. Charles the Natural Murray. The list goes on, Don.
The list goes on. Anybody through the 70s, 80s that boxed, Charles obviously was a champion, a big name. But all those guys, and then all those guys you never heard of who, weren't world champions, but Don still gave them the same attention and opportunities, and it impacted their lives in a positive way. And so we just want to send those sentiments to him and let him know that his work is not in vain.
Absolutely, because here in Rochester now it's really because of him. It's really built up here in the Rochester community.
And really across our whole region. He was part of the original group that got the USA LBC started here, I believe in 1975. And then he was the original group to start the Silver Glove, which is 47 years ago. So he's been a part of this for since the beginning of and using the sport to better the lives of young people, many from the inner cities. And he's always been in the inner cities helping our youth. And I just have a great deal of respect for him and the knowledge and the spirit that he shared with me as a mentor and giving me guidance coming up. He's a special person.
Yeah, much respect. For folks who aren't necessarily as astute on boxing, can you share with them kind of what's the major difference or fundamental difference between silver gloves and golden gloves?
Sure. Silver gloves is really just a younger version. Silver gloves is from 8 years old to 17 now. Previously, it was 8 to 15. So those are the younger kids who have their own national tournament, the same thing as the Golden Gloves. So it's basically a sister program to the Golden Gloves for the younger demographic. And Golden Gloves is the 18 and up, the men, women who compete, that's been around for 100 years, doing what we do. Golden Gloves of America is about trying to provide opportunities and activities in a safe space athletically for young people and mentor them and give them the type of skills athletically, but also socially that's going to better them as people.
Who are some fighters, that you would say, hey, listen, I would say be on the lookout for these names. In the next couple of years, they're going to be making some major moves. You'll see them get, whether it's the Olympics or going pro that you see from your vantage point that we should be keeping an eye out for.
One who you guys are very familiar with, Algeria Johnson, who's a multiple national champion winner, who she won't be competing tomorrow, but she will be on our national team when we travel. And she's been making noise, and you can look for her to do great things. There's another young man that's coming out of the Silver Glove program. This year will be his first year in the Golden Gloves from Rochester. His name is Finest Cummings. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but he's one to watch. He's fighting lightweight 132, and he's won, I believe, some national titles in the past, and he's someone that you want to watch. Also, Dustin Jimenez, who you guys are familiar with, I believe. He was basically the Olympic alternate last time, who is back in Colorado Springs doing some major things. But here in Buffalo, we have a few kids who I think are going to make some noise. Justin Pendleton, he won the novice last year. He's a 154, fights out of Buffalo at 154. Is a very competitive weight class. We have, I believe, I think 13 people that started out in it, and so we have a couple of other really standout young men in that division, and that's a really heated division. So those are some of the people that I think we need to look out for the next couple of years in terms of Olympic hopefuls and looking on to the future and possibly turning pro.
Yeah. And Don, the Clarissa Shields fight a few weeks ago in Detroit, Michigan, it was the first women's pay-per-view fight where they were headlining. The women were headlining the main event there in Detroit. What would that do? What has that done for boxing?
Well, you're starting to see the rise in the popularity of women's boxing. Clarissa has been a major part of that, but you have some other young people, Serrano, and they had probably one of the best fights last year in the last year period. They were in Madison Square Garden. The garden was rocking. It was so loud. So what Clarissa's doing, bringing attention to women's boxing and it becoming more visible, and the technique is getting better, So, women are really new to the sport in terms of the type of numbers that they have. And now you have more women involved, which leads to more competition, which leads to improvement. And now, with the Olympic program and all those things. So she's doing a great job of bringing visibility. We wish her the best. And we want to see women get the same opportunities that the men do. Somebody like Algeria, who's an outstanding boxer, great competitor, great person. We want to see her get those opportunities, and this is a part of making that happen. She was actually at the Nationals the year before, and I know her and Clarissa Algeria and Clarissa got to meet, and she's Clarissa's one of her heroes, and she spent a lot of time. So you'd like to see that these people are giving back, that they're accessible, and that leads to it being a more viable activity for young women.
In closing, I know we're running out of time here, Don. What time does it start tomorrow? And also, how can people
Buffalo River Works? Tickets are still available. You can get them online if you go to buffalogoldengloves.com, or you can get them from Doris Records. You guys know that's a staple here in Buffalo.
Yeah.
You can get them Doris Records, or they'll be available at the door. So we look forward to seeing everybody down there tomorrow. Thank you guys once again. I'm very appreciative of the Real Deal Sports Show, always giving us the opportunity to come on and let the people know what we're doing. And you guys keep up the great work. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Don Patterson, Golden Glove. We'll see you next month in Rochester, April 25th for the big card here in Rochester.
April 25th, it's nothing. You guys have a big show coming to the Blue Cross Arena, April 25th, Savage Life Promotions. So keep an eye out for that. I believe it's a pro-am, so you'll see some of the good amateurs as well as a great pro show. So things are happening in Buffalo, in Rochester, in the Western New York area, and you guys are on top of it, giving us a voice to let the people know. So we thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on Real Deal Sports Show. Guys, hey, excellent show, Bilal, J-GILLZ. Hey, excellent show today. We'll be back next week. Like and subscribe to the show, Real Deal Sports Show, and we'll see y'all next week.